week or maybe 2 weeks ago, I have bought DJI Acttion 5 Pro, mostly to record BTS videos and maybe to record some vlogs. But since I really enjoy riding my bike and my scooter, I thought I can also use it as my sport camera, which actually it is a sport camera. But it turned out it's not that easy to attach the sport camera to the bike or to the car. So what is so problematic? So first of all, this camera does not have a threaded insert. So the only connection you have is this magnetic clamp, which clamps to the bottom of the camera. And then you have to screw this into something. So I already had this bike mount. It's the Instago bike mount system or whatever. I would put the name into the screen so you won't buy it because it's total crap. What is the problem with this one? Main problem is that you have to use this part as a connection. So you mount it like that. It is screwed in, and the first problem is the mount itself. So it jiggles. It's not very tight fit here, and the whole thing jiggles. So when you ride, it jiggles like that. It's really annoying. The second problem is that over time this actually creeps down. So it doesn't matter how strong you tighten this, when you ride a bike and the terrain is uneven, over time this starts to creep, and you got it mounted like that on a handlebar, and then it creeps, and after 15 minutes it's like that, filming only the ground. So that's the problem here. So first of all, I do not recommend this clamp, this Insta thing. Don't buy it, it's crap. And second of all, the less contact points between the camera and the mount, the better. So by contact points, I also mean the adjustment points. So at the moment with this configuration, there is this contact point, which maybe is not shaking, but it's a contact point. There is this contact point, and also this is mounted to the handlebar. So at least 3 adjustment points. And since this does not have the threaded insert, you have to use this. So then I tried the super clamp, and super clamp, as you can see, is big, and this gives great grip on the handlebar because it's big and bulky. The small problem is that my handlebar is tapered, so it's not that easy to mount this. I would show it later. And still there are 2 other problems. First problem is that you have to use this mounting bracket. So you screw it in. Imagine this is mounted onto the handlebar, and then you mount the camera using this unfortunate magnetic mount. So you can probably already see what is the problem here. There are 2 problems. So a part of this creeping again, this will creep on you after 5 minutes or even faster if you riding on a really hardcore terrain. But the second thing is that, as you can see, it's not mounted perpendicular to the direction you are moving, and the problem is there are only 6 directions you can mount this, because it's a hex mount. So fortunately I can mount it like that, tighten this screw and then tighten this the most I can, and it is perpendicular to the and is perpendicular to the direction you are moving, even maybe a bit over tightened. So in that regard, it's not that problematic because you can actually align it correctly, but it still creeps on you on this joint. After a few minutes of riding, it will either creep like that or to the back. It depends how you mount the whole thing on a handlebar. And the other thing is that this can actually unscrew. It never happened, but it is not like very great connection because it is only gripping on this part, and you actually cannot tighten this much. And this is plastic, and I got 3 other mounts, and each of them is plastic at the back. This one have locking points, but I don't have the mount with the locking pins, so it's kinda useless. This works fine in terms of attaching this to the handlebar, and this eliminates unwanted shakes which you generate with this. This one generates unwanted shakes which are twice as frequent as the bumps you are riding on, so this is terrible. So this solution eliminates these shakes, but this still creeps on you. So I have bought this Smallrig cage, which had a threaded mount with locking points actually, but I don't have a mount with locking points. And this is the cage for Acttion 3 and Acttion 4, but fortunately it works with Acttion 5. The only thing is that you have to remove this rubber cover from the lens, and then it fits the cage without the problem. So you put it like that, you close the cage, and this is quite tight fit, so there is nothing bouncing inside the cage. The camera is locked in, and then you have your threaded hole, and you can mount it on this. And again, the same problem occurs, that you have to adjust this hexagonal insert, but you can actually do it. Now it is a bit over tightened, so it's not pointing directly to the front. Now it is. So you can use it like that. You can adjust the camera angle by adjusting the whole clamp on the handlebar, so you can actually adjust this to the front and to the back. It depends how much of the terrain you want to film. So this works fine. It's not problematic, and there is not a lot of shakiness. I would also show the example footage. So that works fine, and also the grip is better because you got this rubber thing on the bottom of the cage, so it grips better this, but still it is not like ideal connection. So this works, and the super clamp is like probably $12, and I think it comes with this sprocket, but if not, this is like $2. So super clamp with this thing would be $15 tops. I would try to link it in the description below. So that works for sure, but it's big and sometimes might be annoying if you cannot align this perpendicularly to the direction your bike moves. So I've done a research, and actually I found 2 clamps. One is this Smallrig clamp, and the other one is almost exactly the same clamp, but it's from DJI actually. But I think this DJI one got a different mounting clamp for the handlebar, and also some elements are made of plastic, and this thing is all metal. And what are the pros of this one? First of all, I will show this on my handlebar in a second, but this has really small footprint, so I can easily mount it on my tapered handlebar. Second of all, there is also a rubber gasket here, so it has better grip if you attach it, and you attach this by also turning this knob, so the grip is quite good, and you can see it is not aligned with the direction which bike is moving, but you could easily realign it because it is the double ball head, so you can align it however you want. You can adjust two ball heads, so I usually have it like that. I tighten this and I check this, and already I have ride quite hardcore trials with a lot of roots and it never creeped on me, but you can still, as you can see, I can move this and the whole ball moves inside these jaws, so it is not that you cannot, do it, but it's quite hard and you cannot move it up and down because there are ridges on that ball, so it won't creep on you up and down. For sure, maybe this could creep to the sides, but it haven't happened. I've ride my bike for 2 hours yesterday and it was all fine. So I can say this one works really well, and my footage went from being really shaky to really stable, although I still use Rocksteady Plus while riding the bike, but I will show the examples and you can see that now it is much better. So I'll try to show my handlebar to showcase how I mount them on my bike. Okay, so this is the handlebar of my bike, and you can see it is tapered, so it is much thicker here than here. So the only place I can screw this in is here actually, because here it would like move like that, so I can screw this kinda tight. My belt still works, and then I can screw in camera here, and then I can adjust the angle by just losing this and moving it up and down. So this works fine, but as you can see it is quite bulky. Maybe I won't hit my knee on this, but it's quite bulky. But this thing is much smaller. I can mount it almost in the center of my handlebar, which also gives an advantage to the shot is more POV from the center of the handlebar. Of course, I can actually mount it on every part of my handlebar, because you can adjust the mount. And now when I have it mounted, I can unscrew this and I can adjust this however I want. So I can adjust this angle, I can adjust if this is facing forward, or I can even move it back. And this mount is kind of nice. I would try to link this. I actually bought it off Amazon. So I usually use it like that, maybe a bit angled down to capture more of the ground than of the sky. And usually my horizon is either on 2/3, so 1/3 is the sky and 2/3 is the ground, or it is in the middle of the shot, so the horizon is in the middle. And with this clamp you can actually adjust this that way, you can adjust this that way, you can adjust this up and down, and you can also adjust the level. So this is much better than this. And the price, it was like $35, something like that, so not that expensive. And you need a cage anyway, even for this one. So the cage was also around $30, I think. So I can recommend this solution. I do not recommend this Insta 360 mount. I do not recommend anything Insta, I'd say. Most of it is crap. So I will try to link it. It's the Smallrig cage for Acttion 3 and Acttion 4, which is compatible with Acttion 5, and there is a bike mount. So yeah, this is my current solution, and this leveled up my bike footage much. The small problem maybe is that you cannot easily unmount the camera because it's screw in. So if you, for example, going to the shop, then you have to leave in theory the camera, but the fastest way to unmount it is just to remove it from the cage, and it's like 2 seconds and you have it removed. Then of course you leave the cage and the mount on the bike, so someone can actually steal the mount. So yeah, that's a problematic, but I usually don't go to shops with my bike. I usually ride my bike off-road, so there is not a big chance someone would steal the mount or even camera because I'm around my bike. So, but you have to be aware that it's not that easy to unmount, although you can still unscrew the whole thing. It takes probably like 5 seconds. And you can unmount the whole thing. So it is also an option. So far I can recommend this one. It's working really, really well. The only thing I've seen is that this rubber is kinda out of shape already. So maybe this rubber will unglue itself. I don't know. But the other thing is that I guess even if this is unglued, there is still a rubber ring here, so the grip should be quite good, even if this thing falls off. But I guess it shouldn't. So far it's been working really well for me. If something breaks, I will update you, but at the moment it is my solution to mount this camera on a bike. And this super clamp, what is great about it, since it is very big, you can also mount it on the fork. You can also mount it on the bike frame. So this allows you to create some creative shots. You can also mount this on the rear fork. I haven't tried it yet with the Acttion 5, but I tried it before with my Insta cameras and it worked really well. So I guess I would recommend both, because this one is like 15 bucks, so it's not that expensive to get, and the other one is 30 and you need a cage anyway. So yeah, so you need probably like 80 bucks to have the whole set, but it is much better solution than anything else. And the actually DJI clamp was much more expensive than this one. It was like 50 bucks. So you almost get this and the cage for the price of the Insta mount alone. And I'm not sure, I will check this, because I'm not sure if the Insta mount have the threaded mount on or it was this thing. I'm not sure anymore, but this works really well for me. And one more thing, I also bought car mount. This is a cheap car mount from Smallrig. Not sure it will work well, because I can see it got some cones already, so not sure it's visible. There is some inclusion here, so it's like not one piece. When it was molded, the mold was like refilled, I don't know. And also this is not really good quality, but I checked it briefly and the suction is really good. So it is really hard to remove it manually. You have to unplug this and then you can remove it. I will check this, but after I bought it, it was like 35 bucks maybe. I also bought the Tilta Alien Mini mount. It's not yet here, but Tilta Mini Alien mount first of all has electronic suction cup, which checks the pressure and pumps the suction cup if needed. And also it has a damper, so we'll see which one is better. This has exactly the same mechanism as my Smallrig bike mount has, but these balls are plasticky. Also this is plastic, so this can easily break, I think, if there would be a lot of pressure. And I don't know, I will try it, so you can expect the second part titled How to Mount Your Acttion 5 onto the car. But at the moment I got some hope in this one, and I got high hopes in the Tilta Alien Mini. We'll see. For the bike, this solution is the best I could find. I've done research on YouTube and there are plenty of different mounts, and this one seems to be the best. And for the car, I don't know yet. I got small hopes in this one and high hopes with the Tilta one. So that's it, and cheers mate!